Given that archaeologists continue to search for new evidence to unravel the mysteries of the vanished culture, we can only speculate about what truly happened at this fateful moment in history. Imagine a mysterious portal that has witnessed centuries of history. The Sun Gate of Tiwanaku stands at a height of about 3 meters and a width of 4 meters, as if guarding the secrets of an ancient civilization. This monumental structure is carved from andesite, weighing up to 10 tons, with every centimeter of its surface imbued with mystery and significance. At the center of the gate is a bas-relief depicting a god with rays, which, according to many theories, symbolizes the solar deity. But that's not all. Scientists believe that the Sun Gate could have served as an astronomical marker connected to a solar calendar, determining the moments of equinoxes and solstices. It is intriguing that the precise orientation of the gate allows sunlight to pass through it at key moments of the year, creating a magical interplay of light and shadow that fills the surrounding space. Around the central figure are mysterious symbols that continue to spark debate among researchers. Some consider them ritualistic signs, while others see them as astronomical markings. Each detail, each carved line on this monument speaks to the high level of craftsmanship of the ancient stonemasons. When you stand before the gates, the thin air of the highlands seems to be filled with a sense of the sacred, a silence that is permeated with the feeling of a place once dedicated to worship and observation of the heavens. The rustling of the wind seems to carry whispers of ancient secrets. Have you ever wondered how this monument might have influenced the lives of those who created it? These mysteries remain unsolved, shrouding ancient peoples and their achievements in a veil of secrecy. Deep beneath the earth of Cappadocia lie subterranean cities, the size of entire metropolises, with some boasting up to 20 levels delving into the earth's depths. These intricate structures, carved from soft volcanic tuff, create labyrinths of tunnels where the air remains cool, even on the hottest days. Each step through these dim corridors is accompanied by a muted echo, while the flickering light of torches casts an eerie glow on the walls, creating a mysterious atmosphere. But what prompted ancient people to build such massive shelters? One of the most popular theories suggests these cities served as protection from persecution and enemy raids. Imagine an entire population hiding underground, unnoticed. Additionally, some researchers point to the possibility that these underground cities were used for wine storage and production, with numerous wineries where perhaps the famous Cappadocian wine was made. There are also speculations that these subterranean cities served as religious centers, places where ancient peoples conducted rituals and prayed to their gods. The infrastructure of these cities is astounding. Ventilation systems, wells with fresh water, and massive stone doors that could close in a matter of seconds, providing an impenetrable defense. The sense of security from the outside world here is truly captivating, and it's no surprise. In these bustling underground cities, one could find everything needed for survival. Some passages are so narrow that only one person can pass at a time, while other rooms can accommodate dozens of people for festivals or gatherings. Did you know that in Cappadocia, there is one of the largest subterranean cities, called Derinkuyu, which could house up to 20,000 people? This city was discovered in 1955, and its size continues to amaze. Inside, you can even find schools and cemeteries, indicating that life in these underground cities was complete. But there's more. In some places, traces of ancient frescoes have been found, raising questions about the role these cities played in the culture and religion of their inhabitants. In the Atacama Desert, there is a colossal geoglyph known as the Giant of Atacama, which is remarkable for its size. Its height is approximately 119 meters, and its length is over 130 meters. This anthropomorphic figure, carved into the hillside, depicts a human silhouette with an enormous head and elongated limbs, which is visible from a distance. The scorching air of the desert creates a mirage effect, while the dark lines of the figure contrast with the bright, almost snow-white background of the sand, making the image even more enigmatic. It is still unknown exactly when this giant was created, but it is believed to be several thousand years old, raising questions about how ancient civilizations could have created such a large-scale project without modern technology. The methods used to create the geoglyph involved removing the top layer of soil to expose darker earth, allowing for the creation of clear figure contours. But why was this colossus created? There are various theories. Some researchers believe it served as an astronomical marker, helping ancient people track important celestial events such as equinoxes and solstices. Others link it to a fertility cult, suggesting that the image was dedicated to a deity responsible for harvests and the protection of local water sources. Interestingly, in this arid landscape where rain falls less than once every few years, the giant of Atacama may serve as an indicator of hidden underground water bodies that were vital for the survival of ancient people. Considering that the geoglyph can only be seen from a height, the question arises: were the ancient inhabitants of Atacama capable of climbing hills to immortalize their creations in the sky? Each time the sun's rays touch the figure, it creates a sense of an ancient message left for future generations, or even for observers from above, raising even more questions about the lives and cultures of those who once inhabited these harsh lands. Perhaps they left us clues in the form of myths and legends that still await explanation. And what's even more shocking, scientists continue to find artifacts that could change our understanding of history and humanity. In the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, mysterious bas-reliefs were discovered that appear to depict something resembling electric lamps. These elongated objects have a shape similar to modern incandescent lamps, and inside them, one can discern a filament that seems to be connected to a source, likely interpreted as a power source. What makes us ponder is that some researchers suggest these images could be evidence of electricity in ancient Egypt. However, there are other opinions. Some scholars argue that these are merely symbolic depictions of the lotus flower, which is associated with the rising sun. But that's not all, for the temple also contains even more astonishing evidence of ancient knowledge. For instance, gilded artifacts that have retained their vibrant colors over thousands of years raise questions about how the ancient Egyptians could achieve such technologies. Imagine the atmosphere of this temple. The subdued light falling on the bas-reliefs creates a sense of touching something secret and unknown. Now imagine how these long-forgotten secrets could change our understanding of a civilization that seems to have left us only riddles. Inside the temple, amidst shadows and light, one can also see images of chemical processes that might indicate that the ancients knew about reactions that modern scientists are only now discovering. For example, the paints used for wall paintings have retained their vivid hues despite the passage of time, challenging our notions of the technologies available then. How could such complex knowledge have existed in an era when tools for their study were lacking? And the most intriguing part? Some believe the causes were related to climate changes and external invasions, but the exact details remain a mystery. On the pages of the ancient Indian epic Mahabharata, there are descriptions that make one pause and wonder, what if these technologies were real? Descriptions of shining weapons capable of emitting light brighter than 1,000 suns recall actual catastrophes where food became poisoned and survivors lost their hair and nails. These are not mere metaphors. They convey a real fear of an unknown power that could be unleashed on humanity. But that's not all. Vedic texts mention flying machines called vimanas, which could travel through the air at such speeds that modern aircraft could only envy them. These devices are described as capable of carrying people and cargo, with the ability to take off and land vertically. Imagine the awe that overcomes you as you read about mirrors mentioned in Chinese texts, which could transmit images over long distances, much like modern video transmissions. The question arises, where did ancient civilizations draw these knowledge from? Their language, though archaic, transcends time, allowing a modern reader to feel something more than just words, a bridge between two epochs. Whatever the truth may be, we continue to seek answers in these mysterious descriptions, and perhaps one day they will reveal their secrets to us. On the map of Piri Reis, created in 1513, not only the skill of its execution is astonishing, but also the fact that it depicts the coasts of Antarctica, which were never visible due to the ice cover. Imagine this. Admiral Piri Reis, an Ottoman navigator, based his work on ancient sources that are lost to us, but which described regions that were unknown in his time. This map is a true enigma, as it not only shows the outlines of the coasts, but also details that raise questions. How could he have depicted these lands if modern technology was not available to him? Some researchers suggest that at the time the map was created, there may have been lost maps of more ancient civilizations, such as the Atlanteans, who might have known about the existence of Antarctica without ice. This opens up a whole world of speculation. What if humanity knew more than we think? Research shows that the Piri Reis map is significantly more accurate than many other maps of that time, which only raises more questions. Moreover, modern technologies, such as radar surveys, have shown that beneath the ice cover, there are indeed geographical features that match the images on the old map. How is this possible? The mystery becomes even more intriguing when we learn that other ancient maps, such as the map of Da Gama or the map of Mercator, also depict territories that should not have been known at that time. Comparing these maps reveals that many of them show the same geographical elements, which challenges our understanding of the history of cartography. Scientists still cannot precisely explain where this information came from or how different civilizations could have had access to it. But what is truly astonishing is that the Piri Reis map not only shows the coasts, but also internal water bodies and mountain ranges that correspond to modern maps, which challenges the question of whether the knowledge of ancient people was as limited as we usually think. Each new analysis of the map adds details to this captivating story, and perhaps one day we will be able to unravel the secrets it hides. And imagine if each of these technologies could completely change our understanding of ancient civilizations. Compare the pyramids in Egypt, Mesoamerica, and China. These colossal structures, similar in shape and purpose, evoke wonder. The height of the Pyramid of Cheops is 146 meters, while the pyramid in Cholula in Mexico is even larger, reaching 120 meters in height. But what compelled different civilizations, thousands of kilometers apart, to create such similar architectural marvels? Remarkably, each culture has solar symbols, solar discs depicted on the walls of temples, or rituals connected to the summer solstice. Have you ever considered that myths about a great flood appear in almost every culture? For example, in the Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh, as well as in the biblical story of Noah, both recount the salvation of the chosen from catastrophe. How could this have happened if these stories arose independently? One popular theory is diffusionism. Ideas and technologies spread through contacts between civilizations, leading to the appearance of similar elements in their cultures. However, there is a more mysterious hypothesis about the existence of an ancient mother civilization that could have been the source for all others. Imagine such a civilization using advanced technologies to build monumental structures, like those we see in Egypt or on the Tiwanaku Plateau in Bolivia. The astonishing techniques used for stone processing could explain how blocks weighing up to 12 tons were transported over long distances. But that's not all. In different corners of the world, archaeologists find artifacts related to astronomy, such as megaliths precisely aligned with the cardinal directions, from Stonehenge in England to the mausoleum in Nanjing, which makes one wonder about their shared system of knowledge. Even rituals connected to ancestor veneration have similar elements, where ancestors are honored in rituals that seem to intersect. There are many questions that remain unanswered. How could such complex ideas develop independently in different parts of the world? And can we truly speak of one civilization influencing another, or is it merely coincidence? Scientists still speculate about exactly how the ancients could have used these knowledge, as each discovery is a separate story that continues through the ages. Among the mysterious artifacts discovered in Colombia stand out the golden figurines that remarkably resemble modern airplanes. These small golden artifacts of the Quimbaya culture, renowned for its skillfully crafted items, feature triangular wings and a vertical stabilizer, with the shape of their fuselage evoking associations with actual flying machines. The golden gleam under museum lights creates an air of mystery, prompting viewers to ponder what the skies of ancient Colombia might have looked like. When researchers created large-scale models based on these figurines, they found that they possess aerodynamic properties that ensure stability in flight. This discovery raises numerous questions. How could ancient people create such complex forms using the limited technologies of their time? Some scientists suggest that these artifacts could be evidence of ancient flying machines used for air travel. Others interpret them as stylized depictions of birds or insects, highlighting the deep connection of the Quimbaya culture with nature. The elegance of the lines in these golden artifacts speaks to the high level of jewelry craftsmanship, while the contrast between primitive production methods and futuristic design evokes both admiration and bewilderment. How could people living at that time create such intricate and well-thought-out objects? They were not just staircases to the heavens, but complex systems reflecting the profound knowledge of ancient architects. But how did they manage to build such colossal structures without modern technology? Imagine the sounds of babbling water filling the streets of ancient cities, where aqueducts, like stone giants, carried water over tens of kilometers to quench the thirst of residents. Roman engineers created true marvels with aqueducts that could lift water to heights of 30 meters using only the force of gravity. The system was so efficient that in Rome, around 150 million liters of water were supplied daily to homes and public baths, where residents could enjoy water procedures. But that's not all. In the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro, which existed more than 4,000 years ago, a complex sewage system was developed, with even houses equipped with flush toilets, a true innovation for its time. Sewer pipes, made from fired clay, ensured the removal of waste, and in some places there were wells for purification. Isn't it amazing? Cretan water pipes, made of terracotta, not only supplied water, but also distributed it throughout the city, allowing each resident to enjoy clean water. In the grand baths of Rome, with their vaulted ceilings and marble floors, the echo of footsteps could be heard in the space filled with steam and the scent of oils, creating an atmosphere of comfort and luxury. While the streets were filled with sewage, the water in these baths was crystal clear, and the contrast between the filth of the streets and the coolness of the underground cisterns was striking. In Rome, there were even special water supply lines feeding fountains and statues, which not only adorned the city, but also provided water for passers-by. And there's more. In some districts of the city, public toilets were installed, which had no equivalents in other contemporary civilizations. Can you imagine how proud the Romans were of their water supply system, which allowed them to maintain high standards of hygiene and comfort? Did you know that such observatories as the Göcek Circle were not just astronomical instruments, but places where entire communities gathered to mark the most important moments in their lives? Queen Nefertiti, renowned for her extraordinary beauty, became one of the most enigmatic figures of ancient Egypt. Her disappearance from historical records has sparked questions and debates even after thousands of years. Images of Nefertiti, known to us through the famous statue, testify to her influence and role in the religious revolution initiated by her husband, Pharaoh Akhenaten. This revolution led to the deification of the solar disk Aton, marking a turning point in Egyptian religion. Nefertiti not only supported her husband, but also, as evidenced by numerous images, actively participated in political life, which was rare for women of that time. However, after the 12th year of Akhenaten's reign, her mentions vanish from all sources, leaving behind a veil of mystery. What happened to her? One of the most widespread theories is her death from an epidemic that could have swept the country at that time. However, there are other versions. Some researchers suggest that Nefertiti could have been exiled, possibly due to political intrigue or a change in status. The theory that she changed her name and ruled under the name of Smenkhkare also attracts the attention of historians. This theory is supported by the fact that some inscriptions in tombs could refer to a female pharaoh, which was extremely unusual. The search for her tomb continues to this day. Archaeologists explore the Valley of the Kings in the hope of finding her remains. The mysterious mummy known as the Young Lady, found in a tomb, is considered one of the possible candidates for identification with Nefertiti. However, DNA analysis has not yet provided clear answers. Numerous expeditions and studies, including the use of modern technologies, have not been able to shed light on her fate. Each new report on this mummy causes a stir in scientific circles and among history enthusiasts. And here's where it gets really interesting. In recent research, traces of unique substances were found that could indicate her origin or even her status in society. But what really happened to Nefertiti? These paintings can tell the story of how long ago people sought answers to questions about their surroundings and what lies beneath the water's surface. Amazingly, ancient civilizations possessed astronomical knowledge that could astonish even modern scientists. For instance, the Maya were able to calculate the length of the solar year with an accuracy of 20 seconds, meaning they were only 1 minute off from the modern calendar. How did they achieve this? They observed the night sky, studded with stars, recording the movements of celestial bodies over many years, and creating complex tables used for planning agricultural cycles and religious festivals. The Babylonians, in turn, predicted lunar eclipses with remarkable precision, based on observations spanning millennia. This was not just a hobby. Their temple observatories, surrounded by silence and sanctity, served as places for deep reflection and the study of the cosmos. But what is even more astonishing? The builders of Stonehenge created their famous structure so that it is illuminated by the sun only on the winter solstice, when the rays penetrate exactly into the center of the construction. This was a magnificent sight, when thousands of people gathered to witness this architectural marvel, understanding that they were part of something greater. And here is where it gets truly mind-boggling. The Antikythera mechanism, an ancient device used to calculate the movements of celestial bodies, was created in the 1st century BC. This mechanism, found on the seabed near the Greek island of Antikythera, has more than 30 gears and can predict eclipses and the positions of planets with unprecedented accuracy. It is astonishing in its complexity. How could such a device have existed in an era when most people didn't even suspect the mechanics of celestial bodies? While wars raged and empires crumbled on Earth, in the silence of temples, astronomers continued to observe the stars, understanding that their knowledge could shape the future. This created an atmosphere of awe, where each new discovery about the cosmos was seen as a gift from the gods, to be studied and protected. But what is truly shocking? Many of these knowledge were forgotten for centuries until modern scientists began to rediscover them by studying ancient texts and manuscripts. Each new artifact found by archaeologists adds new layers to our understanding of how deeply astronomical knowledge was integrated into the lives of ancient people. At the entrance to the harbor of Rhodes, there once stood a statue that reached a height of 33 meters, which could have outshone even modern skyscrapers. This colossal figure, known as the Colossus of Rhodes, was made of bronze that sparkled in the sun and was placed on a massive stone base, adding to its grandeur. Imagine the ships arriving at the harbor, the sound of waves filling the air, as their passengers were struck with awe by this enormous statue that seemed to guard the port. It is hard to imagine the emotions sailors felt upon seeing the bronze gleam reflecting the sunlight, creating a visual spectacle that captivated the imagination. Built in 280 BC, this statue served not only as a symbol of freedom and power for the city, but also possibly had a practical purpose. Some researchers suggest that the Colossus could have served as a lighthouse, guiding ships safely into the harbor, while others believe it was simply a monument intended to impress and inspire. Legends surrounded this statue, and according to some sources, its destruction occurred due to a powerful earthquake around 226 or 227 BC, when it collapsed from its base, leaving only fragments that many tried to see. But what is most astonishing? Every corner of the Knossos Palace breathes history, and each new discovery raises more questions about these enigmatic people. Around the world, there are cave paintings that raise more questions than answers. Images of beings evidently possessing helmets reminiscent of modern space helmets, sparking wonder and genuine interest in the theory of paleocontact. Did you know that in some Vedic texts, there are mentions of Vimanas, flying machines capable of moving through the air and even into space? These descriptions, found in ancient Indian texts, can leave you bewildered, as they seem to describe modern technologies that did not exist at the time. Now imagine seeing figures on ancient Mayan frescoes that resemble astronauts exploring the sky. These images, dating back thousands of years, raise questions about whether our ancestors could have encountered extraterrestrial beings and if so, how it might have affected their culture and technologies. But that's not the most peculiar thing. On medieval frescoes, one can find images that remarkably resemble flying saucers described in modern UFO sightings. These artifacts become true enigmas that challenge traditional views of human history. How is it that similar images appeared in different epochs and on different continents? Proponents of the paleocontact theory argue that the sudden appearance of complex technologies and civilizations, such as the Sumerians or Egyptians, can only be explained by the intervention of highly advanced beings. They claim that without external help, such development would have been impossible. However, the scientific community is not quick to accept these theories. Critics point to the lack of convincing evidence and emphasize that many of the described technologies can be explained by the evolution of human thought and culture. Complex architectural structures, such as pyramids or megaliths, could have been built using knowledge and skills passed down through generations without the help of extraterrestrial civilizations. But imagine how it might have seemed to ancient people. Encountering a being capable of traversing cosmic space could evoke both awe and fear. History is full of mysteries, and each discovery raises new questions. What if ancient astronauts were indeed here? Their technologies could have seemed divine, and their appearance a true miracle. How did our ancestors react to these encounters? For instance, did you know that near these stone masterpieces, remnants of ancient settlements were found, which could provide new clues about the culture and way of life of those who created them? The underwater depths of the Bahamas Islands hold one of the most mysterious secrets: the Road of Bimini. Imagine a structure composed of perfectly positioned rectangular blocks that appear as if they once served as part of a paved road or wall, now hidden beneath layers of water. These stone formations stretch for several hundred meters and spark debate among scientists and researchers. Some claim they are remnants of an ancient civilization, possibly Atlantis, while others insist they are merely natural geological formations shaped by millions of years of erosion. But what makes it even more intriguing? Edgar Cayce, a renowned American psychic, predicted that the remains of Atlantis would be found in this area, adding another layer of mystery to the already contentious story. He spoke of how when the ocean floor reveals its secrets, it will change humanity's understanding of its past. Sunlight filtering through the water creates magical effects, while swaying seaweed between the stone blocks adds an air of mystery, as if they conceal secrets waiting to be uncovered. Researchers diving into these waters feel history enveloping them from all sides, with each discovery potentially being a key to unraveling the mystery. But there's more. Some scientists suggest that the underwater formations could be traces of ancient transportation routes connecting civilizations we know nothing about. These blocks, comparable in size to modern cars, could tell us how people traveled on water in those distant times. But how did they get there? The secrets hidden within these stone structures could revolutionize our understanding of history. Investigations continue, and each new day brings fresh discoveries that may shed light on this enigma. Are we on the brink of a discovery that will spark a revolution in archaeology? Now imagine that these gates are not just an adornment, but a key to understanding their world and their connection to the cosmos. Imagine, more than 7,000 years ago, in the Neolithic era, ancient people performed trepanation using primitive tools made of stone and bone. Yes, you heard it right. They drilled holes in the skull, and this was not just a ritual, but a genuine medical procedure. Research shows that many of these patients not only survived, but also lived long lives, as evidenced by the signs of healing on the found skulls. But what is even more astonishing? In some cases, surgeons used simple anesthetics, such as plant extracts, filling the air with the scent of mint and lavender, which mixed with the smell of sweat and fear. The drilling process was accompanied by the characteristic sound of the tools hitting the bone, a crack that could make the heart beat faster. What do you think the patient felt at that moment? Pain, of course, but also hope for healing. But that's not all. In Pompeii, surgical instruments were discovered that demonstrate an incredible level of skill. Imagine scalpels made of bronze used for incisions, and forceps designed to remove fragments, along with other tools that could be used by modern surgeons. And what about the ancient Egyptian medical papyri, such as the Ebers Papyrus, which describes more than 80 medical preparations and treatments, including surgical procedures? These texts, dating back around 1500 years before our era, contain recipes based on plants, minerals, and animals used to treat various diseases. Ayurvedic medicine, which originated more than 3,000 years ago, was also surprisingly advanced. Imagine ancient Indian physicians mixing powders of rare herbs to create decoctions that healed not only the body, but also the soul. The scent of these herbs, such as turmeric and ginger, filled the air, creating an atmosphere of hope and healing. Did you know that in ancient times, it was believed that each herb had its own soul? This gave the procedures a special significance, as patients believed that along with treatment, they received a part of the life and strength of the plants. And here's where it gets really incredible. In some cultures, special massage techniques and breathing practices were used to improve health, believing that health was linked to the balance of life energy. These ancient knowledge about the human body and methods of treatment, of which we are not even aware, are truly astonishing. Remarkably, in some cases, ancient surgeons used simple diagnostic methods such as pulse and skin color to determine the best way to help their patients. What other medical mysteries do ancient civilizations hide? And what if I tell you that some archaeologists claim this complex was just part of a much larger network of similar structures stretching for hundreds of kilometers? Imagine standing in a scorching desert where the sand crunches under your feet and the air is filled with mystery. On the horizon, like an unknown artist's hand, giant geoglyphs emerge, the lines of Nazca, visible only from above. These incredible drawings, some of which are over 370 meters long, are astonishing in their precision and longevity, having endured for centuries despite the relentless winds and scorching sun of the desert. How could ancient peoples create such monumental works of art without modern technology? Picture this. In this harsh climate, where rain is almost non-existent, they use simple tools to remove the top layer of earth, revealing the light sand beneath and creating clear lines and shapes that continue to amaze scientists today. What's even more astonishing? These geoglyphs depict not only animals, from hummingbirds to giant apes, but also complex geometric figures that raise numerous questions about their purpose. Some researchers suggest they served as a calendar, helping local residents track time and seasons, while others believe they could have been maps of water sources, indicating important locations in the arid landscape. Others propose that these images were ritual paths leading to gods, messages meant to be seen only from the heavens. And here's where it gets truly mind-boggling. Some geologists and archaeologists have even suggested that the lines of Nazca were connected to astronomical observations, helping ancient people track the movements of stars and planets. How could they create such precise proportions and angles without modern tools? The mystery remains, but one thing is certain. The contrast between the lifeless desert landscape and the elegance of these images creates an atmosphere of genuine magic. And the most astonishing fact? Some of the mummies were surrounded not only by everyday objects, but also by magical amulets, which were believed to protect the soul from evil spirits in Duat. Secret societies of antiquity were true guardians of knowledge, inaccessible to the uninitiated, and their influence is still felt in the modern world. The mysteries of Eleusis, held in Greece, were renowned for their complex rituals, which included initiation ceremonies where participants underwent a mystical experience symbolizing death and rebirth. These rituals took place in dark sanctuaries, lit only by flickering torchlight, creating an atmosphere of sacred awe. Members of these societies took oaths of silence, promising not to reveal secrets that could destroy sacred traditions. But that's not the most peculiar thing. In Eleusis, knowledge was not only about deities, but also about agriculture, ensuring harvests in the face of constant struggle for survival. Meanwhile, in Mesopotamia, there were their own secret associations, such as the cult of Mithras, which celebrated the god of light and war. His followers gathered in underground temples where rituals with sacrifices and purification took place. What's even more astonishing? In the cult of Mithras, there was a system of multi-level initiation, where each level revealed new knowledge and mysteries, from practical skills to deep philosophical teachings. The Pythagorean Union in ancient Greece was no less impressive. Its members studied mathematics and astronomy, believing that numbers were the key to understanding the universe. Their meetings were held in complete silence, where every gesture had symbolic meaning, and passwords were passed down from generation to generation, fostering a sense of belonging to something greater. These societies were not just associations, but true repositories of knowledge that linked various civilizations. Mystical practices and philosophical reflections, passed down orally, created a continuous thread that connects us with the wisdom of our ancestors. For instance, the Pythagoreans believed in the reincarnation of the soul, and this knowledge was part of their teachings on life and death. Imagine the dark chambers filled with the scent of incense as wise men discussed the mysteries of the universe, leaving behind a trail of riddles and complex questions. Even after the Colossus was destroyed, its fragments remained an object of admiration and curiosity, and local residents sought opportunities to touch this monument that once towered over them. Legend has it that the hanging gardens of Semiramis were so magnificent that even the most demanding tourists would be unable to fail to be amazed by their beauty. Imagine terraces supported by mighty columns rising up to 30 meters high. These garden structures, seemingly floating in the air, created the illusion that nature itself had decided to climb to the heavens. But what is truly astonishing is that a complex irrigation system was developed to sustain these gardens, lifting water from the Euphrates to the height of the terraces. Ancient engineers employed renowned Archimedean screws to ensure the supply of water to exotic plants that emitted a sweet fragrance in the scorching climate of Mesopotamia. The sound of water flowing through the canals that crisscrossed the gardens created a soothing atmosphere, while the shade cast by the green trees offered respite from the scorching sun. Despite their fame as one of the 7 wonders of the world, archaeologists have yet to find any definitive remains of these gardens, which has sparked endless debates about whether they ever truly existed. Some historians suggest that these gardens may have been no more than a myth created to glorify the reign of Semiramis, while others insist that they could have been located in another city, such as Nineveh. But what is even more astonishing? There are ancient descriptions that claim some of the plants in the gardens reached heights of 2 meters, making them resemble tropical jungles surrounded by a desert landscape. Each step along these terraces would have been filled with contrasts, the bright green of the trees contrasting with the dry hues of the surrounding area, and the sounds of nature blending with the whisper of the wind. But the story of Teotihuacan does not end there. Hidden within the city are even more mysterious artifacts waiting to be discovered. Imagine for a moment crystal skulls that seem to be carved from the very soul of the earth. Their flawless polish shines in the light, and their anatomical precision is breathtaking. Every contour, every detail is a masterpiece that appears almost alive. As you approach, the cold of the crystal is felt on your skin, and the play of light within the transparent material creates mesmerizing reflections that seem to come to life in your eyes. These skulls, found in Central America, raise many questions. Are they ancient artifacts with mystical properties, or are they skillful forgeries created in the 19th century? Do you know that some researchers claim these skulls can refract light in such a way that it appears as if something more is hidden in the empty eye sockets? Some even assert that through these skulls one can see the past. But that's not all. There are theories that they were used in rituals where their magical properties could influence people's fates. But where did these skills come from in ancient times? Some researchers suggest that the stoneworking technologies used were lost, and modern craftsmen are simply unable to achieve such precision. One of the most famous skulls, considered a forgery, was presented in the 18th century and continues to spark debate among scientists and enthusiasts of the occult. It's interesting that chemical analysis shows that some of the skulls contain traces that could be linked to modern materials, once again casting doubt on their ancient origins. So, what is it? A trick of nature or the fruits of human genius? When we look into the empty eye sockets, it seems as if they are watching us, creating a sense that the skulls hold ancient secrets waiting to be revealed. In some cases, they have been used in popular films and books, adding to their mystique and intrigue. But the true enigma lies in the fact that it has not yet been definitively established how and why they were created. Some researchers believe they could have been part of some ritual, while others are convinced they are simply skillful items created for sale to tourists. But do you know that the material they are made of can tell its own story? The crystal used to create these skulls requires complex processing, and only a few masters in the world can work with it at such a level. All of this creates a captivating picture, but the fact that we still cannot confirm their location leaves us with questions about what truly lies hidden behind the veil of time. On Easter Island, in the heart of the Pacific Ocean, more than 900 moai stand, which can be confidently called stone giants. These statues reach heights of up to 10 meters and can weigh up to 80 tons, like petrified sentinels silently observing the boundless ocean. Each moai is carved from volcanic tuff and possesses distinctive features, elongated faces, large ears, and an expression filled with mystery. They are lined up along the coast, as if protecting their creators from the raging waves that constantly crash against the cliffs. Imagine the wind caressing their stern faces, and the roar of the ocean waves filling the space, creating an atmosphere of isolation and secrecy. But do you know how these monuments were transported from the quarries to their current locations? This mystery has long puzzled researchers. One popular theory suggests that the statues walked to their destination, swaying from side to side, while others claim that logs were used to roll the giants along, like wheels. Scientific research shows that moving one such statue required many people and a significant amount of time. This, in turn, raises new questions. How could a small society organize such large-scale projects? And here's the most intriguing part. The population of the island fluctuated, and at its peak, it numbered around 7,000 people, making the achievements of the islanders even more impressive. The isolation surrounding the island gives the feeling that time has stopped, and the moai become symbols not only of culture, but also of a mystery that humanity has not yet been able to solve. Every glance at these statues raises questions about who created them and what role they played in the lives of the ancient islanders. It is interesting that some moai were adorned with red stone hats, which were found far from their installation sites, adding another layer of mystery to their history. And the most intriguing thing? These blocks were laid out in such a way that even earthquakes couldn't destroy them. It's as if they were created to withstand the test of time. How is this possible? Have you heard about the cities that once flourished on the banks of the Indus River, which could rival even today's megacities? In places like Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, streets were laid out with remarkable precision. The planning was so meticulous that it resembled a grid. Imagine narrow alleyways connecting houses made of fired clay, where at every turn you could find markets filled with the aromas of spices and fresh produce. But that's not all. The sewage system, designed to meet the needs of the inhabitants, ensured cleanliness and hygiene that many modern cities can only dream of. Standardized weights and measures facilitated trade, and life was bustling in every corner. But what happened to this extraordinary civilization? Scientific research suggests several reasons for its decline. Changes in the course of the rivers could have played a crucial role. The Indus River, vital for irrigation, began to change its course, threatening agriculture. Climate changes, possibly leading to droughts, could have destroyed food supplies. But that's not all. Invasions by Aryan tribes could have been the final blow, destroying the already weakened civilization. Additionally, epidemics likely contributed to this tragic end. What's even more astonishing? Mohenjo-Daro, one of the most mysterious citadels in this region, housed the Great Bath within its walls, which, according to archaeologists, could have been used for purification rituals. Imagine the residents gathering here, immersing themselves in warm water and discussing the latest news. But soon these places began to fall into disrepair. The noise of bustling streets filled with laughter and the hum of trade was replaced by silence, broken only by the sound of the wind. Markets, once teeming with life, became desolate, and workshops that crafted delicate items fell silent. All that remains of the great city are ruins that seem to whisper the secrets of the past. Archaeologists continue to uncover amazing artifacts that speak of the greatness and tragedy of this civilization. For example, terracotta figurines were found that could depict gods or ordinary people, adding to the mystery of their creators' lives. And in the shadow of these ancient walls, many secrets await their time to be revealed. Now imagine how this awe-inspiring combination of astronomy and religion allowed the Aztecs to create intricate forecasts that predicted not only solar eclipses, but also powerful natural disasters. And this is just a small part of their extensive knowledge about time. Imagine a place where stone blocks, weighing up to 800 tons, are perfectly fitted together so that not even a knife blade can be inserted between them. This is Puma Punku, a mysterious structure in the highlands of Bolivia, where the precision of stonework is so impressive that it amazes even modern engineers. The surfaces of these blocks are not just smooth, they are glossy, as if polished, and the angles are straight, like those in modern buildings. How is this even possible? These blocks are made of andesite and granite, materials known for their hardness and complexity in processing, even with modern tools. But there's more. On some joints, you can see metal brackets that connect the blocks, raising questions about the technologies used in its construction. Where did these brackets come from? And who built such a structure? Did they have tools we don't even know about? The silence is broken only by the whisper of the wind rustling through the tall grass. The thin mountain air creates a sense of standing at the edge of the world, among ancient ruins that hold many secrets. The contrast between the rugged surrounding landscape and the incredible precision of the stonework evokes both awe and bewilderment. Why are there no written records of the construction of Puma Punku? How could ancient masons create such perfection without leaving any records or blueprints? Researchers continue to scratch their heads over these questions, and each new archaeological discovery only adds to the astonishment. The enigma of the Cro-Magnons continues to captivate us, leaving us with many questions about how they lived and what drove them to create as they did. Imagine a place where earth and sky merge in a majestic dance, and ancient people gather in silence before dawn, eager to witness a cosmic wonder. The Goseck Circle in Germany, dating back to around 4900 BC, is a remarkable structure consisting of concentric circles of earthen mounds and wooden posts. These mounds were not merely decorative, they were meticulously aligned with the cardinal directions, creating passageways for observing key astronomical events such as solstices and equinoxes. How was this possible? Simply imagine the first rays of sun piercing through the gaps between ancient trees, highlighting the pre-dawn sky, as a crowd holds its breath in anticipation. The Goseck Circle is not the only such structure. Stonehenge in Britain and Newgrange in Ireland also served as astronomical observatories. Stonehenge, for instance, is built from massive stones weighing up to 30 tons, which are perfectly aligned so that on the summer solstice, the sun rises directly over one of the monoliths, creating an indescribable sense of connection to the cosmos. In Newgrange, where silence is almost palpable, even today, one can feel the sun's rays penetrating the mound on the winter solstice, illuminating the inner walls of the ancient tomb. These ancient observatories, from the Mayan pyramids to the stone structures in Europe, created a sense of unity with nature and the cycle of life. How could these people predict astronomical events with such accuracy? The secret lies in their keen observation and meticulous study of celestial bodies. The ancient Maya, for example, built their observatories to study stars and planets, recording the movements of celestial bodies through complex mathematical calculations. They even created precise calendars that allowed them to plan agricultural activities based on astronomical events. Imagine these people gathering in the pre-dawn silence, waiting for the appearance of the solar disk, its light filling the space, creating the feeling that they were not just observing, but participating in a grand cosmic spectacle. Each new day, each change of season was not just a natural phenomenon, but a part of a vast cosmic cycle in which they played a significant role. As the sun rose, it illuminated their faces and hearts, and they, knowing that this event had been happening for millennia, felt part of something much greater. Now imagine holding a manuscript that describes technologies capable of causing massive destruction, yet possibly capable of saving humanity. What else might ancient texts reveal, hiding answers to questions we dare not even ask? Have you heard of the Curse of the Pharaohs? This mysterious concept shrouds the history of the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, and the most famous incident is associated with the death of Lord Carnarvon. Just a few months after the tomb was opened in 1922, he died in London, and rumors of the curse began to spread rapidly. A lightning strike at the moment he left the tomb added more mystique. The same day, the electricity in Cairo went out, which many saw as a sign. But it's not just about Carnarvon. Soon after, other mysterious deaths occurred, including the mysterious demise of the doctor who helped him, and even some of his team members. Some researchers claim that toxic mold spores, which could have preserved toxic substances in closed tombs, could have been present in the air. Imagine entering the burial chamber, where the musty air seems filled with 1,000-year-old silence, and the dim light of torches illuminates hieroglyphic warnings on the walls. These are not just ancient inscriptions. They seem to whisper about the fate of those who dare to disturb the dead. If you think this is just a myth, scientists also consider psychosomatic effects. Fear and anxiety can cause physical ailments. So what really happens when human courage meets ancient mysteries? Behind every corner of the tomb lie not only cemetery treasures, but also the shadows of those who will never return. It is no surprise that the giant of Atacama continues to attract the attention of researchers and tourists eager to unravel its mysteries. Imagine an island of Crete, once thriving with the Minoan civilization, suddenly shrouded in darkness, swallowing the vibrant colors of life. The Minoans built palace complexes like Knossos, equipped with plumbing and sewage systems that would astonish even modern cities. Their art, filled with vibrant frescoes and delicate ceramic artifacts, reflected harmony and prosperity, while their maritime trade spanned the entire Mediterranean basin, bringing wealth and influence. Yet, all this could be destroyed in an instant. Around 1600 years before our era, the volcano of Santorini, known as Thera, began to erupt with such force that it altered climate conditions across the region. The roar of the eruption was heard hundreds of kilometers away, and tsunamis reaching up to 30 meters high crashed onto the shores of Crete, devastating everything in their path. Ash spewed into the atmosphere, blocking out the sun and causing panic in once peaceful cities where people could no longer feel secure about the future. Scientific research suggests that this catastrophic event could have been the catalyst for the decline of the Minoan civilization, although this is just one theory. Some researchers propose that the invasion of the Mycenaeans could have been an additional factor, undermining the Minoans' foundations and leading to their downfall. Others point to internal social conflicts and economic problems that could have weakened them before natural disasters struck. Regardless, the cities that once resonated with life now echoed with silence, broken only by the sounds of the sea and the wind carrying away the last remnants of their grandeur. All these factors, from roaring volcanoes to approaching waves, created an atmosphere of catastrophe that completely changed the fate of an entire civilization. And so, what was once a symbol of prosperity is now but a shadow of its former glory. The most astonishing fact is that these figurines were found in graves, indicating their significant ritual importance, possibly linking the world of the living with the world of spirits and the skies. Suddenly, like a bolt from the blue, Cro-Magnons appear in the archaeological annals, people of modern type who astound with their art and skill, comparable to the works of contemporary artists. These enigmatic beings left behind cave paintings so realistic that they seem to come alive on the walls of the caves. Imagine the atmosphere, flickering light from primitive lamps casting shadows on damp walls, where red and black paints, mixed with natural pigments, create images of magical animals and mysterious hunting scenes. How could they create such masterpieces with only primitive tools? The answer is not as simple as it seems. Cro-Magnons developed needles with eyes for sewing clothes, harpoons for fishing, and atlatls that greatly increased the range of spear throws. But where did they learn this? Historians scratch their heads over how these skills could have emerged without apparent predecessors. Each discovered artifact, whether pottery or musical instruments, adds a new note to this mysterious symphony, where every sound and every stroke conveys a sense of connection with ancient artists across millennia. And did you know that found flutes made of bone, dating back to the Cro-Magnons, have holes precisely cut for creating melodies? These instruments suggest that music was also a part of their lives, playing an important role in society. But here's the question: what happened to this extraordinary culture? Why don't we see their successors? Some researchers even suggest that these discs could have been part of a more complex system used for information transmission. It is astonishing that in ancient Egypt, there existed technologies for stone processing that challenge our understanding of the capabilities of ancient civilizations. Granite, with a hardness of 7 on the Mohs scale, was used to create monumental structures, and its perfectly smooth surfaces and precise right angles continue to amaze even modern engineers. Imagine a polished granite, mirror-like in its shine, reflecting sunlight to create blinding flashes. Such walls have maintained their smoothness for millennia. But how did the ancient builders achieve such precision? Researchers propose various theories. One of the most common suggests the use of abrasive sand in combination with copper tools. But what is even more shocking? Some experts even suggest more exotic methods, such as the use of sound waves for cutting stone. Imagine striking a basalt with a hardness of 6 and hearing a clear, resonant sound, as if the stone responds to the touch. This raises the question: were these really simple tools, or did the ancient Egyptians possess technologies that we still do not understand? Diaphragms and resonators could create acoustic effects, allowing for the precise processing of stone. Cylindrical holes drilled with minimal deviation are astonishing in their precision, appearing as if they were made with lasers. Once, during excavations, archaeologists found traces of abrasive material on the walls, confirming the hypothesis that sand was indeed used for processing. But how could they process diorite, with a hardness of 7 to 8, and still leave such smooth surfaces? Its processing requires immense effort, and modern tools do not always match those used in ancient Egypt. How did they manage such hardness? Perhaps they had methods that we cannot restore. Each stone, each block, is not just a building material, but also a testament to artistic and engineering genius. Is this just a trick of the mind, or did the ancient pharaohs really leave us a warning? At the heart of Mexico lies the ancient Mérida, a city frozen in time yet pulsating with life and mysteries. Imagine walls built of stone, covered in green growth that sprouts from every crack, as if nature itself is reclaiming what was once hers. The architecture of this city is a symphony of styles, where elements of Maya culture intertwine with Toltec influences, and even the impact of later Spanish colonizers. But what if I tell you that in some of these structures, you can see stone carvings that still raise questions about possible maritime contacts with distant civilizations? One of the most intriguing theories suggests that Mérida was not just a city, but a multicultural trade hub connecting various peoples, making it a vital node on ancient trade routes where not only goods, but also ideas flowed. And this is where it gets truly fascinating. During excavations, archaeologists have discovered artifacts such as pottery, with patterns characteristic of other regions, as well as tools that could have been brought from distant lands. What does this mean? These finds may indicate that Mérida was not just a meeting place for physical objects, but also for cultural exchanges. Have you ever heard the sounds of the tropical forest surrounding these ruins? It's not just the rustling of leaves and bird songs. It's as if the echoes of ancient conversations still resonate in the air. The dense jungle envelops the city, yet it guards its secrets, as if protecting them from prying eyes. Mérida is not just a city, but a living testament to the diversity of human history, where each stone and every crack in the walls can tell a story. And here's the most incredible part. Some researchers believe that this city might have been home to sacred sites where rituals were performed, connecting people with the gods, making it not just an ancient settlement, but a true spiritual center. Every time the wind stirs the sand and changes its shape, the lines of Nazca remain unchanged, as if guarding secrets that humanity is yet to uncover. And did you know that some of these drawings could contain an entire modern city? It's hard to imagine how, under the scorching sun of the desert, such monumental structures as the pyramids of Giza were built. Yet, this is one of the greatest mysteries of humanity. Stone blocks weighing up to 80 tons were fitted with such precision that the gaps between them did not exceed 1 millimeter. This is not just impressive, it's breathtaking. How did the ancient Egyptians achieve such accuracy without modern technology? It seems as if each stone was cut with jeweler's precision, and their perfect alignment with the cardinal directions is awe-inspiring. For instance, the Pyramid of Cheops deviates from true north by only 0.3 of a degree, making it one of the most accurate structures in history. The question of how they move these massive blocks remains unanswered. There are numerous theories, from inclined planes that could reach several hundred meters to complex systems of levers using human muscle power. Some even suggest that they might have used waterways to ease transportation. Picture thousands of workers sweating under the sun, pulling ropes, with the sound of stones rubbing against each other echoing throughout the area, creating a symphony of effort and passion for construction. The scent of freshly quarried limestone mingles with the dust rising from tired bodies, casting long shadows of the pyramids at sunset. This was not just hard work, it was an art, where each block, each detail had significance. In this desolation, amidst the rustling of leaves and the sounds of nature, lie the stories of a vanished civilization that left behind only traces on the earth, along with the question, what really led to the fall of this great culture? Legends of lost civilizations always stir the imagination, and Atlantis is no exception. First mentioned by the philosopher Plato in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, he described it as a wealthy and powerful civilization that sank beneath the waves. According to Plato, Atlantis was located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which are now interpreted as the modern-day Strait of Gibraltar. But this is just the beginning. In the search for Atlantis, various researchers have proposed numerous hypotheses. Imagine the sound of the sea waves concealing ancient secrets, and the salty smell of the sea filling the air, creating a sense of the vastness of the watery expanse. Some sought Atlantis in the Mediterranean Sea, believing that its remains could have been swallowed by volcanic eruptions, as in the case of the island of Santorini, which was destroyed by a catastrophic eruption around 3,600 years ago. Others pointed to the Atlantic Ocean, where they believed submerged lands might exist, possibly connected to myths about ancient cultures that predated known history. But that's not all. Some researchers even suggested that Atlantis could have been located in the North Sea, in the area where Britain is now, or even in the Caribbean, where legends of sunken cities abound. And now, imagine that some scientific theories claim that Atlantis could have been hidden under the ice sheets of Antarctica, beneath a thick layer of ice where green land once existed, now replaced by icy wastelands. This is just the tip of the iceberg in the search for this lost civilization. Scientific expeditions, archaeological finds, and underwater research only serve to fuel interest and excitement, as if the world is ready to reveal its secrets. Around these searches, entire myths and theories have been woven, attracting researchers and history enthusiasts like a magnet, making them wonder, what if the myths about the lost Atlantis are not just fiction, but a reflection of real history hidden beneath the layers of centuries? This makes crystal skulls not only a subject of debate, but also genuine works of art that can change our understanding of ancient civilizations. Once upon a time, in the heart of Alexandria, there was a library that housed up to 700,000 scrolls, and within its walls, the knowledge of the ancient world was concentrated. Imagine the rustle of papyrus scrolls, the scent of fresh parchment, and the soft glow of oil lamps illuminating ancient texts that could speak of philosophy, mathematics, and astronomy. The library was not just a repository of books, but a true center of science and culture, attracting scholars from all over the Mediterranean. Each ship arriving at the port was subjected to a meticulous inspection. Copies of all texts were made, allowing for the collection not only of Greek works, but also those of the Egyptians, Persians, and Indians. How magnificent it was to gather all these knowledge in one place, which could have changed the course of history. But alas, this grandeur could not last forever. There are several versions of the library's demise, and each one sounds like a tragic end to a grand work of art. One of the most widespread stories claims that during Julius Caesar's siege of Alexandria, the library was partially destroyed by a fire that engulfed the city, consuming many scrolls that were never recovered. Perhaps the library shared the fate of the city when Caliph Omar ordered the remaining ruins to be destroyed, believing that the knowledge it contained contradicted Islam. But this is not all. There is also a version that the library gradually fell into decline, losing its scrolls and scholars who sought new places for study and work. Whatever the case, this wonder of the world eventually became a myth, leaving behind only shadows and mysteries. How much wisdom was lost in those scrolls that once guarded the walls of this library? How many questions remain unanswered? But that's not all. Researchers continue to uncover new artifacts that could change our understanding of how these civilizations evolved. Are you ready to discover what other secrets the ancient Merida still holds? Each Aztec calendar was more than just a way to track days. There were two main types: the ritual Tonalpohualli, consisting of 260 days, and the solar Xiuhpohualli, containing 365 days. These calendars created a unique system that allowed the Aztecs to predict astronomical phenomena with remarkable accuracy. Imagine that each of these calendars was connected to specific gods and rituals. Tonalpohualli was an integral part of their religious life, determining the time for sacrifices and ceremonies, while Xiuhpohualli governed more secular aspects like agriculture and festivals. The most intriguing aspect began with their combination. Every 52 years, both calendars aligned, and this period was known as the solar cycle. At the end of this cycle, the Aztecs performed ceremonies to renew the fire, which could have resembled something from a fantasy film. A burning sacrificial altar surrounded by thousands of people, waiting for the sun not to disappear from the sky and the world not to plunge into chaos. During these 52 years, the Aztecs carefully observed the stars and planets. Their astronomers recorded the movements of celestial bodies to accurately predict eclipses and other astronomical events, creating time codes that allowed them to understand the rhythm of the universe. It is interesting that for the Aztecs, time was not linear but cyclical, adding even more significance to their rituals. As the end of the cycle approached, there was a sense of panic in the air. What if the sun does not return? These fears underscored the importance of the calendar in their lives. Each day was not just a day, it was a step in a ritual leading to the next renewal, to the next changeable moment. The Aztecs used complex tables to track when and how important events occurred. For example, they knew that rituals associated with the goddess Coatlicue should take place on certain days of Tonalpohualli when the stars were in specific positions. This was not just a skill, it was a necessity that ensured their survival. As a result, their calendars not only answered questions about time, but also connected the human world with the world of gods. It is important to remember that each of these maps could be a key to understanding the lost knowledge about our planet, and who knows what other secrets they may reveal. Imagine holding in your hands an ancient clay vessel, over 250 years old, which could change your understanding of what electricity is. This is not just an artifact. It is the Baghdad battery, a unique device containing a copper cylinder and an iron rod, capable of generating a small voltage. When the vessel is filled with an electrolyte, such as vinegar or lemon juice, chemical reactions occur that can produce a current. Picture the faded metal of the copper cylinder reflecting light and its weight in your hands. This device raises many questions. For what purpose could it have been used in those distant times? Experiments show that it could have been used for galvanization, allowing one metal to be coated with another, giving it a beautiful appearance and protecting it from corrosion. But that's not all. Some scientists suggest that the Baghdad battery could have been used for medical purposes. Perhaps ancient priests used it to treat illnesses by stimulating nerves with a weak electric current. Or could it have been used to create religious miracles? The sensation of a slight tingling that ancient people might have felt when in contact with the working device adds to the mystery of this artifact. With each new experiment conducted by scientists, new facets of its possible uses are revealed. Could they really have used electricity long before it became common in our world? This story remains one of the most intriguing, for it was here, in Alexandria, that knowledge could have united and formed the basis for future discoveries that would have forever changed our world. The Sphinx, with its enigmatic expression, may harbor secrets that delve much deeper into the past than we can imagine. Geologists studying the erosion marks on its body claim that they could only have formed under prolonged rainfall conditions characteristic of the region more than 10,000 years ago. This discovery challenges widely accepted notions about the age of the Sphinx and its construction. When we gaze upon its weathered stone, we sense an atmosphere filled with ancientness and time that seems to have stopped. The interplay of light and shadow on its mysterious face evokes a sense of silent grandeur, impervious to time. But this is more than just a natural phenomenon. Some researchers assert that the Sphinx was aligned with the constellation Leo during the epoch of 10,500 years before our era. Consider how this could have altered our understanding of ancient civilizations. Did they know about celestial cycles and use them in their rituals? The myths and legends potentially linked to this astronomical alignment remain unsolved. How many more secrets lie hidden beneath layers of sand and time? Each of us who looks upon the Sphinx can feel its connection to something greater than just a stone, a testament to what once was and what may yet come. These investigations open doors to a new understanding of our history and how we perceive ancient civilizations. If you thought this was all, know that there are even more incredible examples that will make you ponder how deeply our ancestors understood the world around them. At a height of 12 meters stands the Pyramid of the Sun, one of the most monumental structures of Teotihuacan, capable of accommodating the entire audience of a football stadium. Imagine ascending the wide steps, each a story in stone, etched with history. The Pyramid of the Moon, standing at the opposite end of the Avenue of the Dead, appears as a sentinel guarding the secrets of this city. The road, nearly a kilometer long, draws the steps of travelers, each echoing off the ancient walls. And now, the most intriguing part. The creators of this great city remain unknown. Many believe they were Aztecs, but in reality, Teotihuacan was built long before their arrival. How is this possible? Before you lies not only the scale of the city, but also its precise geometric layout. Every building is aligned with such precision that each line seems perfect. This is not just architecture. It is a cosmic symphony where each structure has its purpose. What caused this once bustling city to fall silent? The mystery remains unsolved, like many others related to its culture and customs. What is even more astonishing? Research suggests that more than 100,000 people could have lived here, and imagine how they interacted, communicated, and created art on the streets, now only visited by the wind between monumental structures. Each step in this ancient city is a journey back in time, when sunlight danced on the pyramid steps, reflecting golden hues that could have blinded even the most seasoned viewers. Remember, in Harappa, traces of the world's first weighing system used for trade were discovered. Did you know that even seals with animal images were used here, indicating a highly developed art culture? Did you know what ziggurats are? They are not just ancient structures, but true architectural giants, reaching up to 90 meters in height. Their stepped form resembles staircases leading to the heavens, as if they were the abodes of gods praying from above. These structures were built from fired bricks, faced with glazed tiles that sparkled in the sun and reflected light, creating a magical effect. Imagine the long shadows cast by a ziggurat at sunset stretching across the ground, conveying a sense of grandeur and mystery. From the top platform, you could enjoy a breathtaking view of the city. You could see the river winding in the distance, and the houses, like anthills, coming to life at your feet. But what were these giants built for? There are many theories, each captivating in its own way. Some researchers believe that ziggurats served as temples where priests performed rituals, invoking the gods. Others suggest they were astronomical observatories, places where stars and planets were observed to predict weather and harvests. And there are those who claim that ziggurats could have served as shelters during floods, like magnificent ships allowing people to escape natural disasters. And here is where it gets really fascinating. Ziggurats could also symbolize the world mountain, the place where heaven and earth meet. They were not just architectural structures, but symbols carrying deep philosophical meaning from the ancient world. Climbing the monumental staircases, you felt as if you were approaching the heavens, and the sensation was so strong that you felt on the verge of communicating with the divine. Imagine people walking past a ziggurat, discussing important matters, while the wind whispers around them, full of secrets and mysteries. These structures held not only religious, but also cultural values, reflecting the level of society's development. Each brick was a part of history, and each decoration a part of a myth. Ziggurats were not just buildings, but centers of life, symbolizing both physical and spiritual aspirations of humanity. And here's something even more astonishing. Some ziggurats had internal staircases leading to different levels, as if containing a whole world within them. Did you know that many of these practices and symbols are still used in modern teachings and rituals? Imagine standing among colossal stone blocks, each weighing up to 50 tons, and transported from distances of up to 240 kilometers. These massive boulders are not mere natural formations. Their placement is meticulously calculated so that on certain days of the year, sunlight filters between them, creating a magical interplay of light and shadow. What makes this most intriguing is the existence of several theories regarding the purpose of this enigmatic complex. Some researchers believe it was an ancient observatory where astronomical phenomena were recorded with extraordinary precision. Others suggest that Stonehenge might have been a ritual center, a place of worship to gods, or the site of ceremonies related to life and death. But there's more. There's a theory that it served as a place of healing, where people gathered in the hope of a miracle. How could such a monumental structure have been built without modern technology? Builders likely used a system of rollers to move these stones, along with extensive road networks connecting various regions where the stones were quarried. As the wind passes between these masses, it sounds like the whisper of ancient spirits, and the coolness of the stones makes one ponder time and space. And when you stand here, feeling the power of these blocks, a question arises. How did they manage to align the blocks with such perfect geometry? It's fascinating that even after thousands of years, Stonehenge continues to raise so many questions and mysteries. And the most astonishing fact is that in ancient Rome, there were even laws regulating the cleanliness of water bodies and sewers, underscoring the importance of cleanliness in the life of the city dwellers. Imagine granite discs with a diameter of 30 centimeters, featuring a perfectly round hole in the center and spiral grooves reminiscent of micro-engraving. These artifacts, known as the dropped stone discs, were discovered in isolated mountain caves surrounded by impenetrable forests, where even the sun's light struggles to penetrate the dense canopy. Archaeologist Chipoutier found them in 1938, and since then, these enigmatic discs have been the subject of numerous rumors. Some researchers claim that the spiral patterns contain inscriptions detailing the crash of a spaceship from a distant past. However, what is most intriguing? Many scientists consider this story to be a hoax, and the discs to be skillfully crafted fakes. Nevertheless, the endless attempts to decipher their alleged inscriptions continue to stir the minds of researchers and enthusiasts worldwide. What do these spirals truly conceal? Perhaps they are a message from another era, or even another world. The dropped stone discs, with their mysterious origins and unsolved mysteries, seem to beckon, leaving a sense of touching something potentially extraterrestrial. Their enigmatic content and history of discovery only fuel the interest in this artifact, which appears to have been left here to provoke questions for which there are no answers. Around these discs, there is an atmosphere of the unknown, as if they hold secrets that could alter our understanding of the past. But what is even more shocking, and the most astonishing thing? Some researchers believe that special tools were used for construction, about which we still know nothing. In the jungles of Central America, there once thrived a civilization renowned for its magnificent cities. However, in the 8th and 9th centuries AD, these cities were abandoned, leaving behind only mysteries. Imagine the rustling of leaves embracing the ruins of temples, and the cries of wild animals echoing from the shadowy corners of once bustling squares. This was the time when the Maya, known for their achievements in astronomy and architecture, suddenly disappeared, and modern scholars still cannot agree on the reasons for this disappearance. One of the most popular theories points to catastrophic droughts that swept the region, causing rivers to dry up and crops to fail. Research conducted in the 21st century shows that rainfall levels decreased by 30%, which could have led to water shortages for millions of people. But that's not all. The depletion of resources such as wood and soil also played a role, as the growing population required more and more for its survival. And here's where it gets truly bizarre. Some scientists suggest that epidemics like smallpox could have devastated the population, leaving cities empty and lifeless. But that's not all. Wars between different city-states over resources could have caused social unrest, leading people to abandon their homes in search of safer places. How did it look? Picture empty squares where once thousands gathered, now filled only with the remains of walls and overgrown grass. Palaces once teeming with life became the lairs of jaguars, whose steps echoed loudly in the silence. What's even more shocking? Scientists have found that places like Tikal and Palenque were abandoned in just a few decades, and no one knows exactly how it happened. A sense of mystery hangs over these places, as the spirit of former greatness still lingers in the air, making us wonder what really happened in these magnificent cities. While the world around him changes, the Sphinx remains unchanged, a living testament to the epochs that have passed and the mysteries that remain unsolved. Few realize that the Romans invented concrete that not only withstood the test of time, but also became a model of longevity for future generations. This mysterious material, mixed with volcanic ash, could harden even underwater, allowing them to build aqueducts, bridges, and magnificent buildings that still stand today as silent witnesses to engineering genius. Imagine aqueducts towering 30 meters high, gracefully arching over valleys as if reaching for the sky. The sound of water flowing through stone channels was like a grand symphony, accompanying the daily life of the city dwellers. Each aqueduct, capable of holding thousands of liters of water, was a true engineering marvel, providing the Romans with clean water from sources up to 100 kilometers away. Upon entering the baths, you felt the coolness that contrasted with the hot sun outside. Marble floors polished to a mirror shine left a sensation of coolness and freshness under your fingertips, while the aroma of essential oils created an atmosphere of relaxation and seclusion. Inside the baths, there was an atmosphere of friendship and conversation. People discussed politics, philosophy, and art while immersing themselves in hot baths where the water temperature reached 40 degrees. These baths were not just places for bathing, but true centers of life where the fates of thousands of Romans intersected. Roman roads, built with incredible precision, served for the movement of legions and traders, stretching for thousands of kilometers. Some of them still exist today, and walking on them, you can feel history coming alive under your feet. Each stone on these paths was cut with such care that construction did not require modern technologies. Engineers used principles of geometry and physics available only to them, creating incredible structures that could withstand the weight of multi-ton legions. But that's not all. Did you know that the Romans invented a heating system that allowed them to maintain a comfortable climate in buildings even in the harshest winters? Under the floors of baths and residential buildings, there were channels through which hot air circulated, creating the effect of a warm floor, which in our time seems like an innovation. This system, known as hypocaust, is one of the earliest examples of centralized heating, and its influence is still felt today. And when you think you've seen it all, imagine how the Romans used their achievements to create magnificent theaters and amphitheaters where thousands of spectators gathered to watch gladiator fights and theatrical performances. The Colosseum, which could hold up to 100,000 spectators, was not just an arena, but a true symbol of Roman power, reflecting the ingenuity of ancient architects. Each stone in this structure, each arch, was meticulously planned to create something more than just a building. It was a machine for entertainment, about which generations dreamed. And if you think this is the limit of Roman capabilities, wait until you hear about how they used their achievements to create the first systems of sewerage, ensuring cleanliness and sanitary conditions in the city. In this ocean of mysteries and riddles, perhaps one day an answer will emerge that will change our understanding of ancient civilizations. The Great Sphinx of Giza, majestically standing on the plateau, has been observing the world for more than 4,000 years, leaving an inexplicable sense of mystery in the soul. Its length reaches 73 meters, and its height is 20 meters. Imagine an enormous statue that could easily overshadow a two-story house. Carved from a single block of limestone, this giant was hewn from one piece of stone, which is astonishing. How did the ancient masters create such a work of art? Some researchers suggest that the Sphinx was built during the reign of Pharaoh Khafra, but the exact date remains a subject of debate. Why was this guardian constructed? There are several theories. Some believe it guarded the necropolis, others see it as a symbol of the solar deity, while others propose that the Sphinx served as an astronomical marker, pointing to significant astronomical events. But there's more. Beneath his paws, hidden chambers may exist, as mentioned in the Book of Thoth, an ancient text that speaks of mysterious underground passages and treasures hidden from the eyes of ordinary mortals. Imagine how light and shadow play on his weathered stone, changing with the time of day. In the morning light, he appears soft and warm, while in the evening, his features become sharper, emphasizing his ancient wisdom and the mysteries etched into every stone facet. The Sphinx, with its half-closed eyes, seems to hold secrets that humanity has been trying to decipher for centuries. Did you know that his once proud nose, destroyed by numerous attacks in time, only adds to the enigma and intrigue surrounding his image? Perhaps they had their own ways of treatment that we have not yet discovered. In Costa Rica, mysterious stone spheres, ranging in size from several centimeters to 2.5 meters in diameter and weighing up to 16 tons, are hidden. These nearly perfect spheres, primarily made of granodiorite, not only captivate with their appearance, but also with the precision of their craftsmanship, which makes one ponder the technologies of ancient artisans. How did they manage to create such geometric masterpieces without modern tools? Scientific researchers propose various theories about the purpose of these stone objects. Some believe they could have been used as astronomical markers, indicating significant moments in solar or lunar cycles. Others suggest that the spheres symbolized status and wealth of their owners, becoming integral parts of rituals and festivals of ancient societies. Some find in them navigational references, guiding paths through dense jungles filled with dangers. Arranged in specific geometric patterns, these stone spheres create a striking contrast with the chaotic vegetation of the tropical forest. The humid air, filled with the scent of earth and greenery, fills the space where these man-made ideal forms seem almost otherworldly amidst the wild nature. Sometimes it feels as if these spheres hold ancient secrets waiting to be discovered. Their arrangement is not random. Some groups form lines that may have indicated important astronomical events. But this is not the most mysterious aspect. Scientists still cannot definitively determine how and why these spheres were moved over long distances, as their weight and size cast doubt on the possibility of transporting them with simple tools. Moreover, in some cases, the spheres align with celestial bodies along an axis, opening new avenues for thought about their purpose. Each of these spheres, like a guardian of ancient secrets, stirs the imagination and makes one wonder about the other mysteries that may be hidden in the tropics of Costa Rica. The questions are multiplying, and the answers seem only to increase our fascination with this ancient artifact. What other secrets might the Baghdad Battery hold? In the caves of Liguria, in northern Italy, mysterious cave paintings are hidden, which make one ponder about what truly happened in ancient times. Some of these figures resemble modern underwater vehicles, elongated, streamlined shapes with clear lines and strange symbols that could easily be mistaken for elements of advanced technology. The dim light of the caves creates an atmosphere of mystery. The coolness of the stone walls and the faint smell of moisture add to the sense of otherworldly enigma as the gaze slides over the images left by our ancestors. These paintings are estimated by scientists to be at least 7,000 years old and are found in places where, according to researchers, ancient people could spend time using waterways for travel. But what did the artists really depict? Some researchers suggest that these could be evidence of extraordinary technologies that have been forgotten over time. Who knows? Perhaps ancient civilizations had access to knowledge that we have not yet deciphered. Meanwhile, other scientists offer more rational interpretations. Perhaps these images represent stylized boats or even marine animals that inhabited those waters in ancient times. Imagine people standing before these walls, seeing their fellow tribesmen hunting or paddling in primitive boats, leaving traces in history. But this is not the most unusual thing. In some of the paintings, one can see figures with strange shapes that evoke associations with modern underwater devices, such as submarines. These images challenge our understanding of how technology developed in the past. There are even theories that these ancient artists could have captured something more. Perhaps they witnessed unidentified underwater objects that today seem fantastical. And the most amazing thing? Is it possible that we have a chance to learn what the ancient Egyptians wrote about their gods and customs? It's hard to believe, but ancient structures like the Temple of Abu Simbel were specifically designed to be illuminated twice a year, when sunlight penetrates inside and illuminates the statues of pharaohs. This occurs on the days of the spring and autumn equinoxes, when the sun rises at the perfect angle, creating an almost magical glow as light dances on the walls and shadows create illusions that leave viewers breathless. No less impressive is the Pyramid of Kukulkan in Chichen Itza. During the equinoxes, when the sun is in a particular position, the shadows cast by the pyramid steps create the effect of a snake descending the stairs. This spectacle evokes awe in observers who whisper to each other about the architectural genius, immersing themselves in the atmosphere of ancient rituals and beliefs. Stonehenge, this mysterious stone circle, also demonstrates its connection to the heavens. On the day of the summer solstice, the sun rises directly over one of the stones, creating a unique moment when light and shadow intertwine, and the sound of awestruck whispers fills the space. These astronomical phenomena are not just visual effects. They evoke a sense of reverence when people stand before these ancient structures, feeling part of something greater than just the physical world. It's intriguing that such knowledge of astronomy was available to ancient builders, who used it to create structures that could interact with the heavens and create unforgettable moments for future generations. Many of these places, like the Temple of Abu Simbel, still hold secrets that scientists are trying to unravel by studying how ancient civilizations achieved such precision in their calculations. The mystery of her disappearance still awaits resolution. In ancient Egypt, there existed a unique collection of spells and instructions known as the Book of the Dead, which served as a guide for the soul in the afterlife. This book, comprising a compilation of texts, helped the deceased overcome the dangers of Duat, a mysterious and frightening realm filled with trials and traps. Imagine. The heart of the deceased was weighed on the scales of Maat before Osiris, the god of the underworld, and if it was lighter than a feather, the soul could enter the paradise fields of Aru. But if the heart was heavy with sin, it faced a horrifying fate, being devoured by the monster Ammit. And so, in the dark burial chambers, with flickering torches, spells were carefully chosen from the Book of the Dead to ensure a successful journey to the afterlife. These texts contained not only prayers and spells, but also detailed instructions for interacting with various deities that could be encountered along the way. Mummification was not just a ritual, but a sacred process that preserved the body for eternal life. Shorn hair, meticulously prepared internal organs, and wrapped bandages, all had their significance. Burial chambers were filled with items that could be useful in the afterlife, from food and drink to tools and jewelry. Every detail mattered, for the ancient Egyptians genuinely believed that life after death was just as important as life on earth. Funeral rites were conducted with great solemnity. Priests, clad in white robes, recited spells, and the faces of those present were filled with reverence. Each mummified figure in the tomb was imbued with hope for reunification with the divine. And what is even more astonishing, in recent decades, researchers have discovered that during their existence, these statues could have been moved over significant distances, challenging traditional methods of their transportation. Do you know that the ideas about the sphericity of the Earth emerged much earlier than we think? The Pythagoreans, as early as the 6th century BC, began to suspect that our planet is spherical, based on observations of stars and their movement across the sky. They noticed that stars change their position depending on the location of observation. Aristotle, in the 4th century BC, provided a series of proofs for this hypothesis. He observed lunar eclipses and claimed that the shadow of the Earth fell on the moon Earth is always round, which is possible only if the planet is spherical. This was before anyone set sail westward to confirm these ideas. But the most astonishing fact is that Eratosthenes, who lived in the 2nd century BC, managed to measure the circumference of the Earth with remarkable accuracy. He calculated it to be 25,000 miles, which differs from modern data by only a few percent. Eratosthenes used simple but ingenious methods. He noticed that at the same time in different cities, the shadow of a stick falls at different angles. Educated people in most ancient civilizations already knew about the sphericity of the Earth, as evidenced by records from ancient India and Mesopotamia, where astronomers recorded the rotation of the starry sky around the polar star, creating accurate maps. Ships disappearing over the horizon also served as a clear demonstration. If the Earth were flat, ships would simply shrink in size, not disappear. But that's not all. During lunar eclipses, the shadow of the Earth on the moon was always round, adding another piece to the evidence. Did you know that ancient Greeks even created models that showed how stars move across the sky? They did not have modern instruments, but their observations were so precise that even modern astronomers often refer to their works. Isn't that impressive? These knowledge about the shape of the Earth formed the basis for further development of astronomy and geography. And here's another detail. In ancient Egypt, astronomers used shadows to determine the time of day, and their methods were so accurate that they allowed for the construction of pyramids with incredible precision. Roman sewers were so effective that some of them still function today, proving that the Romans left us not just a legacy, but a true foundation for the modern world. Imagine a black basalt stone that became the key to unraveling one of the most mysterious civilizations in history. The Rosetta Stone, discovered in 1799, weighed around 700 kilograms and measured 33 centimeters by 70 centimeters. Its surface is inscribed with 3 identical texts in different languages: Ancient Egyptian, Demotic, and Greek. It was thanks to this stone that Jean-François Champollion, a French linguist, was able to lift the veil from Egyptian hieroglyphs, which had remained undeciphered for centuries. Notice the contrast? The dark, rough surface of the stone and the clear, carved signs that seem to tell stories about gods, pharaohs, and the daily life of ancient Egyptians. Champollion used the Greek text as a basis for his work, and in 1822 he was able to decipher the first word on the stone, pater, which meant father. This breakthrough opened the door to numerous historical texts, including religious and legal documents. But that's not all. Thanks to the Rosetta Stone, we learned about figures like Tutankhamun and Ramses II, who became not just names in textbooks, but real characters in history. Imagine how many secrets are hidden in the yet-to-be deciphered hieroglyphs, waiting for their moment to be understood. Each sign on this stone is not just a letter, but a whole universe filled with events and emotions that will come to life once we can decipher their meaning. Perhaps it is here, in this underwater wonderland, that more secrets lie hidden than we can even imagine. In the Knossos Palace, located on Crete, mysteries lie hidden that have baffled researchers for many centuries. It is not merely an architectural structure, but a multi-level complex with over 1,000 rooms connected by intricate corridors, which many believe inspired the myth of the Minotaur's labyrinth. Imagine wandering these corridors, where each turn can lead you to a new hall, adorned with vibrant frescoes depicting scenes from the lives of the Minoans, including the cult of the bull, which played a central role in their religion. The palace housed a throne room with a magnificent stone throne, surrounded by light wells that allowed sunlight to pass through, casting shadows and light patterns on the polished limestone floors. And what about the storage rooms where grain and other goods were stored? They were organized with remarkable efficiency, indicating a high level of management and record-keeping, facilitated by Linear A, the writing system used by the Minoans for their economic records. The scent of the sea, wafting through the open courtyards, mingled with the aromas of food being prepared in the kitchens, while the sounds of palace life, including laughter, conversations, and footsteps, echoed through the corridors, creating an atmosphere of a true civilization hub. But that's not all. Archaeologists continue to uncover new artifacts that reveal fascinating details about how the Minoans lived and the secrets that the palace held. For instance, a recent discovery was a water supply system that could have provided the entire complex, utilizing complex channels and reservoirs. It's interesting to consider how such knowledge was organized in other cultures. Suddenly, out of nowhere, on the banks of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, a civilization emerged, about which legends still circulate. The Sumerians, as they called themselves, believed that their knowledge and culture were given to them by beings known as the Anunnaki. These mysterious creatures, according to their beliefs, descended from the heavens and brought with them secrets that allowed the Sumerians to build complex city-states like Ur and Uruk. Imagine, in this hot climate, amidst the rustling of reeds, people created irrigation systems that allowed them to control water flows and grow crops, even in the most arid conditions. Additionally, they had clay tablets on which scribes, using wooden styluses, left cuneiform signs, one of the earliest writing systems in human history. This was not just a form of writing, but a whole language that allowed them to record not only business transactions, but also myths, laws, and poetry. Do you know that the Sumerians observed celestial bodies and created one of the earliest astronomical maps? They knew about 5 planets visible to the naked eye and even predicted eclipses, which was a true marvel for that time. Their knowledge of the cosmos was so advanced that astronomers could accurately determine the positions of the moon and the sun, as well as calculate lunar cycles, which formed the basis of their calendar. The Sumerians divided the year into 12 months, which is truly impressive for such an early era. Where did they get such knowledge? Some researchers suggest that it could be the result of observing the sky over thousands of years. But that's not all. They also developed a number of system of numbers, including values up to 60, which became the basis for our modern system of time measurement. Imagine the Sumerians gathering on the squares, discussing celestial phenomena, creating myths about deities and planets that governed their fate. In those moments, they felt part of something greater than their own lives. But what is truly fascinating, the Sumerians called themselves black-headed due to their black headgear, and this name became a symbol of their identity. Each time they wrote on their tablets, their words seemed to come alive, creating a bridge between the past and the future. How did such a civilization disappear? And what is most intriguing? Perhaps the Sphinx is just the tip of the iceberg, and beneath its feet lie unsolved mysteries waiting to be revealed. In ancient texts from various cultures, one can encounter mysterious descriptions of flying chariots used by gods. Imagine the Vedic texts describing celestial machines that could move at the speed of light, leaving behind a brilliant glow and deafening sound, as if thunder was roaring. The Bible mentions fiery chariots that carried prophets, accompanied by a strong wind filling the space with mysterious energy. In Sumerian texts, there are references to chariots of the gods, which were similar to modern flying machines, described with such detail that it is hard not to wonder where this knowledge came from. Erich von Däniken, known for his theories about ancient astronauts, suggested that these descriptions could be evidence of contact with extraterrestrial beings. He claims that in ancient times, people could see technologies that seem fantastical to us today and try to explain them through the lens of their time. But let us ponder. Perhaps these are merely metaphors describing natural phenomena like lightning or comets. Nevertheless, in texts from different cultures, from Indian to Near Eastern, we continually encounter images of gods descending to earth in their shining chariots. These powerful images stir our imagination and make us wonder what our ancestors might have seen. Picture this. One such chariot, like a flash, appears in the sky, leaving a bright trail behind it, with a roar of wind and thunder that makes people's hearts stop from fear and awe. These massive structures, described in ancient texts, could have been more than just the product of imagination. They might have been reflections of real events happening in the heavens. Some researchers believe these descriptions could be interpretations of observations of comets, meteors, or even atmospheric phenomena. But what if they were witnesses to something even more extraordinary? In the Torah, there are descriptions of celestial chariots descending from clouds, surrounded by light, and each of their appearances causes excitement among people. Could these ancient texts contain a truth we have yet to decipher? It is important to remember that each of these stories, regardless of their origin, reflects humanity's desire to understand the world around us.